Hello, and welcome back to SpaceChem. Today, no thanks necessary. A scary looking mission because it looks like there's a ton of reactors that we don't need to use. We'll see if I continue using the minimum number again. I doubt it because, well, I say that every time though. I don't know. No thanks necessary. Kept Joel's latest email open for so long it was practically burned into the screen. Good morning, friend. Thank you for your kind assistance yesterday. I am feeling wonderful. Much improved. Please come by my office when you have a moment. Sincerely yours, Joel. Joel was a tall man with a thick beard. I could imagine him cutting down trees to build his own cabin on the edge of a cliff. I could not imagine him writing cheerful emails to thank his subordinates, let alone with smiley faces. Perhaps the nurse had given him a powerful drug for the migraine. Yeah, something's not up. Something is up with him. Something's not quite right. Alright, nitrogen, oxygen. This looks familiar, I think. Is this even the same ratio as before? I think it was 1 nitrogen to 3 oxygen. Yeah. Water and sodium chloride, which is just like table salt, right? NaCl. Yeah. 2 to 1 ratio, so yeah, just salt water. I wonder... This is probably not the actual ratio of the ocean, if I had to guess. Plus, you know, there's a ton of other stuff in there too, but... And we're making... we have a recycler, that's good to know. Nitric acid and sodium nitrate. We're going to have to hover over this one. A strong acid and oxidizing agent used for the production of fertilizer, explosives, and metallic compounds. Alright. Sodium nitrate, historically known as Peruvian saltpeter. This compound is used in pyrotechnics and some archaic rocket propellants. Alright. Saltpeter, that's not a term I think I've heard since Civilization 3. So I can have 5 reactors. It says it can be done in 2. Before I even think about that, what is it that I'm trying to do here? I need 3 oxygen. So I mean, the obvious thing to do is going to be more than 2 reactors, I can tell already, but the obvious thing to do is to make this sort of compound, since it's the same for both of them. So 3 oxygen, one of which is double bonded to a nitrogen. And then using this, we just input the sodium and the hydrogen, and the extra stuff here, including 100% of the chlorine, just goes to the recycler. So, easiest setup I can imagine is this makes that chunk, that molecule, a chunk of the molecule. It's not an entire molecule. This just separates out sodium and hydrogen into individual atoms of 1 each. And then... Hold on. That's interesting. So the problem with this is that I can't split the, if I'm producing this molecule, I can't split it into 2 different directions. So I would either have to have a setup that has like 2 completely different passes going to different exits, or or just stick in another reactor, right? Like I have, like that would be one use for another reactor. It would be something like this, where this is now taking this thing and sending it in 2 directions, and I'm just using an entire reactor to do nothing but basically act as a splitter. Oh boy. And then if I wanted to do the... Oops. If I wanted to do the minimum solution, I'd be doing the splitter, but also combining when I'm doing the splitter. No, that doesn't work, because that doesn't give me an output that lets me get rid of the chlorine. And also the extra hydrogen peroxide that'd be created. Okay. Yeah, so this is the first, I guess, the first mission where I don't immediately see how to do it with the minimum number of reactors. And based on that graph, that's probably a massive headache. Let's see, the other option is I can go oxygen, I can just do this part, and then I can use the OH together, but then I need another O here. Alright, so, but like I said, I'm not going to be fixated on doing the minimum solution. I just noticed that these graphics are different. The atmospheric pump has a fan on it, whereas the oceanic... Oceanic? I always would have said oceanic, but... Oceanic. Yeah, no, that is the same spelling. English pronunciation's weird. Okay, so... What do I actually want to do then? If I do the oxygen-nitrogen combo like I was planning, this is going to be the correct ratio, but I can't rely on that. Like, that on its own is a hard process. This one I feel like is relatively easy, because with this, I'm just separating off the hydrogen and the sodium, and that's going to take 2 reactors on its own, because... Okay, maybe that's how you do this with 2. You put a reactor, and the reactor creates HCl as one output. Not HCl. HNA. And the other output is HOCl that just goes to HO and Cl and whatever else, and it just goes to the recycler. And then we would feed the HNA as an input into the second reactor, which is then combining all of these with no wasted products at all. That just sounds awful. I think the first thing I want to do, regardless, is figure out the nitrogen-oxygen, because I think this is relatively simple. Whether I do it with 1 reactor or with 2. So let's start with this. We are making... we just have... Well, we have 2 potential outputs that we can use. For now, let's just mark the lower output and create the molecules so that we know what we're aiming towards, and then we'll worry about where we're sticking the other one in later. We're wanting something like this with a double bond here. Alright, so that's the goal. Yeah. We may or may not keep that. Okay. So with this, making nitrogen and oxygen, well, no matter what we get, we need to split it up. And we know that every 12 molecules will be 3 nitrogen and 9 oxygen, but we don't know the order that we're getting them in, and we don't want to have to store, you know, potentially 9 oxygen worth before we get a single nitrogen. So I think we're just gonna chuck a bunch of stuff and not worry about it too much. Alright, so... And how long has it been? I feel like... Sec. Yeah, 10 minutes in and I haven't even started designing anything yet. I'm just thinking about what I want to do. Game's starting to get complicated. I don't generally like doing grabs on corners. So in this case, we grab, because the molecule is weird, or sorry, is too big, we can't go any further over than that unless we're grabbing from this side. Which, I mean, is a thing you can do. But this lets us come down here and do another grab on the same color later. Okay. So does it matter what we get? Before we even do any of this, do we want to be splitting it in this position? We tried that before and it was a little bit awkward. Hold on, I wanna see something. Save to toolbox. Oh, it's creating NO though, which we don't necessarily want. Oops, I wanted handler, but didn't quite fit. Yeah, this is a complicated mess. Do I want to reuse this? Can I reuse this? It's just throwing everything out except for this. I don't really want this, so I don't think it's actually... Never mind. Not actually useful. Okay, well... That was an option. I thought I'd look into it. So if we grab... Is it easiest if we just... do nitrogen first? I don't think it is, honestly. I think we want to do oxygen first. The other problem is with these bonders. This is going to be a headache of a molecule to make. Yeah, I still don't know what I'm doing. If I split these into individual atoms... then that would mean that in the end, I'm going to need some structure like this. Unless I do a lot of rotation, I guess. That's an option. Okay, well, let's go with that. Sync. Use this old trick. Before we do this, do we care whether we have an oxygen or a nitrogen at the start? I think we're going to start with nitrogen. We get oxygen. If we get oxygen, we throw it out. And let's just put all the outputs and stuff right away. So with this, anytime we get oxygen, we just get rid of it until we get nitrogen. Okay. Nice and simple so far. Then with sync, we wait here. Until it's completely separated. Then we go here. Let's just move this over a bit. Drop nitrogen. Let's slow down. Drop the nitrogen here. Come up here. Grab the other nitrogen. Go through the sink again, that's fine. We'll do a drop here. And another output right away. Get rid of it. That lets us come down here. At this point, what are we looking at? If we get the sensor, where the sensor is not good. So thinking if I get something I can redirect. Interesting. Right, so the problem here is if I grab this, I can go down if it's the thing I want. But if it's not the thing I want, it's impossible to redirect because I'm already on this line. If I had you going out in another direction, that might work. Alternatively, something I was considering is I could do this, and then I could have my input, here, and then have a sensor depending on what I'm inputting. So in this case, this is loop 1, and if I get like the idea here would be something like this, where I go on to the other loop if I don't get what I want. Alright, so let's think about this again. I've just messed this up horribly, but what we're going to see here. Oxygen. The next one comes down. Yeah, and sensor would have to move. Because as it stands, yeah, that kind of worked, but this sensor is completely useless. as it stands. I don't bother pausing it, it's effectively the same as doing nothing. But if I had the sensor up here, I feel like I'm just about to reset this entire reactor, because what I've been doing hasn't been working well with the space, and I think having this offset from this is making things really awkward, so actually... attempt to. Gotta do this again. It's still faster than undoing, though. Oh, wait. It's not. Remember the things that you can do. What is my mouse doing? Come on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we can just delete that way. Alright, change of plan. Sensor is here. So with this plan, we're going to input. And what are we looking for on the first cycle? We want to keep going until we get the nitrogen. So that means if we have nitrogen, we do this. If we do not have nitrogen, I wish that would work, where you could just click that and it would replace the arrow. Maybe there's a good reason why it doesn't do that. But yeah, if that is not nitrogen, then we come back and try again for nitrogen. And we probably want these over here, which means that at least on this route, we're grabbing it from here to avoid a collision with the side of the reactor. Oh, no, 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 this is very bad, because now if I have the wrong molecule, I haven't disposed of it yet. Well, that just means I reverse the direction of the loop, right? So if we have nitrogen, we go up. Otherwise, we have oxygen. We grab. Get oxygen. Drop an output. We have nitrogen. Here we can just put a grab, it'll be fine. Let's do that so that we can come down here on the other side of the molecule if we want. Not that that gives us any space to ever come through here on the other side of the molecule, so we'd be forced to do that with blue. Alright. Well, we're grabbing it on this side. I think. Here's our nitrogen. this point, once it's gone past the sink, it is completely decoupled. So we drop here. I don't think we need this anymore, do we? Oh, right, we're going in the other direction now. Well, I could just do that. I don't need this here. Okay, well that looks relatively clean. So at this point, aside from the fact that... Here, let's do another sink. Something like that. So now oxygen should be junked. And nitrogen should be dealt with. And I even deliberately put this in this final area, so this output's going to get rid of that second molecule, or second atom, without me having to touch it. So drop that, and it's gone. Okay. So the problem with that is that now I'm going to want to sink here, or probably a loop with some extra bonding instructions. Because at this point, I just want oxygen. And I need to come through here twice. And if I have nitrogen, I need to get rid of it. And I can't use red because I don't have enough space. Which really makes me want to redesign this again, but I feel like I'm not getting anywhere by continually redesigning this. But if you have oxygen, okay. I have an idea. We drop it here, and then output it. Which means that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 turns before where this can grab it. No, this is a terrible idea, because if I'm doing this, this will not account for having a second nitrogen just coming through. No. Okay, no, at this point we're stuck. We're stuck, we're waiting for blue. Alright, so blue... And blue kind of has to do... input, alpha... Looking at this... Okay, if we have a sensor here, we're just going to do this. It's probably not going to work very well, but... Your element, which is going to be oxygen, which is what we want. If we have oxygen... No, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to do nitrogen. Nitrogen. Drop. Output. If we get nitrogen, we dump it. If we get oxygen, we come down here. Maybe he didn't want this right on the edge like this. So this sink lines up with this sink. That goes back, but I've added the extra sinks in there. Okay. So now we have an individual oxygen. Here. Just give myself a little bit more space. Sink. Sink, you are now going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe something like that. This is now connected. This is a mess. I have this. If I rotate this, and drop, we now should have the nitrogen over this again. Let's just run this whole simulation and see what happens. Let's make sure everything's still working. Output has not been outputted yet. Right. Alright, well that's let's do a safety output here. Good. Waiting to sync, get the double bond, rotate once, and drop. Okay. Now this is starting to do something again, so like this whole thing, I might actually just go down and do a whole loop like this with red, just to get enough sinks in the area. But the idea is that with this, I would then come around, grab this on here, and then I would have my ONO, and I might just ship it at that point, because this is already getting really messy, and I don't want to try to get that extra O in, and that's where I'm going to end up using an extra reactor. I don't know, I don't feel like I'm in the right mental space to try to cram all of that into a single reactor today, so I think I'm just going to take it easy on this one. Alright, so with that in mind, so lots of reactors, might as well use them. With that in mind, need another sink here, because blue's not done yet. We'll just do that for now, but we've got enough room now to do another loop if we need it. So D is going to come around, grab that, come in here, we're waiting on a sink. At this point, sink again. At this point, you move and you bond once, do another sink. And that lets us have this without one of the oxygens here. At which point we just drop here because we were never holding anything at that point, so it's fine to have the extra drop. And then we're going to output. And then probably just do one more sink to line things up. This sink matches with this sink, which is okay because we have another sink here. So this just means that we need one more sink. Do we need one more sink here or not? I thought we did, but now I'm not doubting myself. Let's just test it. Okay. Output. And then we're waiting here. Yes, that looks right. And we're going to get a second one of these. Yeah, except that we have no output, right? Because we don't have the pipe extending anywhere. But so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at nitrogen here, oxygen, oxygen. Okay. Nitrogen here, oxygen. Oxygen, was this the orientation? Double is below, oxygen is right, so this is just rotated. Okay. Can I edit this without doing anything? Interesting. Alright. That's our output. It's even a real molecule. Which the game does not require you to have real molecules as your outputs. Alright, so we've converted this into this. Now from here, do we want to do that, or do we want to do an extra? I think this will get us nitric acid without any problems, but this will not get us like the much easier thing to do than what I'm doing here is just to stick that extra oxygen on this, which we can do from here. This is still a mess, though, because I'm going to need like 2 more reactors just to sort this out and get the right ratios. Unless we do everything in this one reactor, but that's Probably not ideal either. Just so I have the molecules to look at. Alright, so starting with blue this time, I guess. Doesn't have to be, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to input until we get water. Input until we get water. Let's just put the sensor here instead of trying to be fancy about this. So input until we get water. Once we have water, we will have a hydrogen here. Just can't help myself. Have to be fancy. Okay, we've inputted. If we have water, we're going to grab here. And I guess go around. So we have H2O like this. If it's not water, we have not yet grabbed anything. So we're going to grab the sodium atom, come down, here, drop, and output. Hold on. Right, this is what makes it hard. I don't have a recycler, and I need a recycler, so this is not going to work in here. Because of chlorine. Okay, so I was just starting to work on stuff, but no, I need a recycler here. I'm forced to because I don't have the right. Okay, so what that means is we don't want this coming in here. Instead, we want this to be outputting Alright, this is where now having this not having the oxygen gets really awkward. Alright, so this is going to output one of two things. It's going to output OH or ONA. I think we're going to go with that solution. Alright, so looking at this, again, we're waiting on water. We've grabbed water. If we've got water, then what do we do with it? Recycler is up here. We got water. We want OH or ONA. So the first time we get water, we do that. We can probably just do a deep. Oops, we can just do a debond here. And that will, let's see, what are we holding? We're holding this hydrogen. Right, so if I do that in this position, or, you know, move it down, we've debonded this, so we now have OH here, which is one of our acceptable outputs, with an extra hydrogen. think I actually want to do this over here. Because that lets me just get rid of the extra hydrogen right away. So we have OH coming down. And that's good. That's good, okay. So once we have an OH, I guess I'll put the sink here. Drop. Because I wanted that one extra space. Drop output. Sink, okay. And we'll do a second sink as well. At this point, what we've done is we've dropped an OH here, I guess, right? I'd rather drop it in the center. No real reason, I just feel like it's easier to work with if your molecules don't start right on the side. Okay, so at this point we have, well, let's make sure this is working as intended. That's a problem. That's also a problem. Okay. That fixes that. These are the wrong output because I was using the wrong Waldo. Okay, there we go. That's H and O, that's fine. And then from here, this first sink will activate red, which will then basically do the same thing. Oh no. Can we just move all of this up one? We can't, but I want to be able to come through again. So if we start in the middle instead, I'm just going to have to change this setup. Alright, so if we have hydrogen here, input, here we're grab, oops, that's not a grab. G is not grab, apparently. That was, okay, so if we're starting here, now we're grabbing it no matter what, which is probably the better thing to do than what I'm trying to do with grabbing the offset. Because that was making things a lot more complicated than it needed to be. Okay, so we're starting here, input grab, something like that. So we've grabbed it at this point. Now, sensor, we're here. Where are we grabbing it? On the oxygen or chlorine. That's fine. So here we check. The plan is to junk if we get chlorine, so we want this going off if we are holding oxygen. Okay. If we're holding oxygen, we keep it. Something like that. This can all go at this point. Okay, that gives us a bit of a nicer space to work with. So at this point, stop. That's what I wanted. Let's do a rotate. That'll fix that. So this positioning is different because we're holding this in a different spot now. It just means that we move those both down one, and that'll get rid of the hydrogen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's gone. And we don't need to rotate it. We don't need to rotate here anymore. Alright, there we go. So at this point we've got our OH. Now we need to come through again. Why do we want blue to come through again? We might not need to sync just yet. Because we really want the water. Which we can do by grabbing here, kind of. Do we want the water? No, let's go for the other one. Let's say we got the salt here. So we're going to input B again. Grab. Here. So now I want this to go this way, but then it has to be rotated a bunch. I'm basically trying to get as much done with the blue as I can before I start using the red, because I have 3 things I'm trying to do, and I've done one of them. I've done the easy part, which is taken up this space, which is just to convert water into hydrogen peroxide. Part 2, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. No, I'm not liking how this is working again. Because this line is just in the way. There's not really anything I can do about it because of where I put the sensor. Well, at this point, what am I holding? It's good, I'm holding oxygen. I can put the sensor here. And just change this to a hydrogen. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. So if we're holding hydrogen, so hydrogen's here, then this comes through. That means that with this one, we input and if we have shoot. You don't need these sinks, by the way, if I'm still doing stuff on blue. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted to do. It's this one. So if we have sodium, We go up and grab it, and we have what we want. I'm getting distracted by things. Oh, okay, we don't need that anymore. That lets me come through like this. The drop there, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. It's probably fine. So grab. At this point, I'm holding the chlorine, which is the one I don't want to be holding. But that can be fixed. By doing drop, grab. There we go, I'm now holding the sodium. I really don't want to drop it there. Maybe I don't have to, I can just do this. Another output here. And at this point, if I just do a negative bond here, it's fine, it won't affect what else is going on. Okay. So if I've done this right, at this point I'm holding a sodium atom. Only a sodium atom. And I drop it here. And it's more or less fine. So this is now the problem is if I get water instead, I don't have the ability to drop it. So at this point, we're going to put a sink here. After we're going to flip these. Input, sink. The red's going to start. So if we got water instead, we're just going to do that. And then red's going to have a loop. So the nice thing about this is that red is never handling sodium chloride, I don't think, unless we get like 3 of them in a row or something. Let's just run this and make sure I'm not doing something stupid. Make sure I didn't break anything. Okay. So there's our peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. Alright. From here, if we synced, well, we need oops. We need a red sink. Okay, we'll just do that for now. Okay, that worked as expected. D-bond, output the chlorine, which we don't want. Okay, we don't want this to hook up just yet, because we have some problems. Although, no, because it's, yeah, it's going to do that. We want hydrogen peroxide. This is going in. Okay. So at this point, this should work, as long as red is getting rid of the wrong molecule, if we get the wrong molecule here. So let's sort that out first. So the first job that red has is let's see, at this point we know that we have water. Do we know that? Let's just come up here so we have a lot of space. So at this point, if we're getting here and waiting again, if we have NaCl, then we're good. Okay, if we have NaCl, we're good. So let's just go change trigger element to sodium. Okay, we're good. We're going to go on this branch. This branch, therefore, means that we got what we don't want. We got what we don't want. So we're going to drop it here. This is going to be super slow. We got the molecule we don't want, so we're going to reset the loop. We got what we wanted. So nothing happens. I can't test. Can't test this part, but I guess what I can see then is that we're going to be left in this state. Which means that at this point, while we're waiting on the sink, we're going to go around and we just want water. We don't want sodium chloride. So if we get sodium chloride, they're going to input, and if it's sodium chloride, we go this way, otherwise we go up. Okay. So up on hydrogen, that's what we want. Otherwise, grab and flush. Okay. So we grab and flush. We get what we want. Then we have a little bit of a trickier thing to do here, because we grab the oxygen, go over here. Oh, that's fine. Is it? No, I don't like that. Problem here is that we need to get rid of both hydrogens now. which because of this, I need to use these sensors for this. Because these sensors are going over here. Yeah, I don't have quite enough room for what I'm trying to do here. So I do something like that. Well, I do that. It doesn't get the molecule. It doesn't get the atom I want, but it's not going to be quite enough space because this nonsense. Because now I'd want to do something like that with an output and some bond removers. But this isn't going to work. The reason that this doesn't work is that this is too far over. Can I move this over without messing up blue? Not likely. Periodic. Here we go. Oxygen can only take 2 bonds, yeah. Okay, well, that's fine. So what we're going to do then is that we're just going to live with the fact that we have a really messy molecule coming out. So in this way, we've gotten rid of 1 hydrogen. Let's just flush it. And we're still holding on to oxygen at this point. We need to get back up to here too, don't we, to start? Which we could have done here, maybe. No. Well, let's just do something awful and see what happens. I don't expect this to work. But if we do a bond here, a drop here, and then here again. Hold on. We can move this to here. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then we just go on to here, because this loop is going to be back into here. Okay, okay, okay. I think we saved it. I think we saved it. Okay. I really need to play through this to make sure everything's actually working properly. Bond. We'll just run the bond here. This is the only time we're here, so we're going to output here, and I think this kind of works, except that we've got the sink here, which is only for this part. And here we got these two sinks. Why do we have these two sinks? This is just waiting for the output, right? Okay. So because I don't quite have enough space, we're going to do one sink here, and then this we're going to delete. Make that the output? Does this work? What have I even made? Okay, we got our hydrogen peroxide out. That swaps over. Gets us our sodium. Did I neglect to input at some point? I think I probably did. Also, this is supposed to be waiting on something. So in that state, oh man, I don't even know what this machine's doing at this point. This isn't a good sign. Okay, Red, what are you doing? So you start moving. What is the purpose of this? There's a reason I did this. Right, so we need a sink here. Sorry, I need to figure out what my machine's doing before I continue here. Okay, so that's output. Sink. Right. So what this does, pause, is it grabs it. If it was the wrong molecule, this just goes around and waits to sink. So this grabs it. It comes back here. If it's not the wrong molecule, this is a logic error. This can't work. This is coming into the same line as this, and they have to be separate. I don't want to just start this reactor over. Because what would be a lot easier? I think I am going to. Like, I could try to fix this, but I think it's going to be a lot easier just to change what these are. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm just deleting this whole reactor. And instead, what we're going to do is we're going to greatly simplify everything that we're working with, and we're just going to shunt this onto the next reactor. So here, input. Doesn't matter what this thing is. We need a sensor there. Because what we're doing is we're going to input, we're going to make it negative. So at this point we have OH and NaCl. We're going to grab whatever this is. And we're going to go this way. Drop it here. We're going to output. There we go. Reactor done. So what we've done with this reactor now is that we just chopped off this hydrogen. So we have OH and we have NaCl. And in fact, we're going to simplify this a little bit further, because what we're going to do here... Now we're grabbing on this side. Okay, up. So if we see sodium, we go this way, down. No, we actually want this to be here. This way. That. I'm going to do drop. Grab. And at this point, let's go up a little bit more. Let's not be super compact. Q. Output. There we go. This should work. So this should get me my sodium. Yeah, sodium here. Ah, that's a problem. Okay. Right, because we didn't deal with this. Which is fine. So we will use red, it'll just be faster. Grab. And let's make sure that we're out of... range, drop. We do not want that to be there. We don't want to mess up with this. So actually we're going to add some sinks just to make sure that the timing doesn't screw up on anything. How did I manage to do that? Okay. There we go. Here's our sodium. Okay. And it can't output. If it could, though, we'd sync. You'd move forward, move forward, move forward in B, and that would be bad. Okay. I always do that. Well, it's a reactor. There we go. Now we can do multiple outputs. Yeah, we can see why this is bad now. Because if that had been a water molecule, we would have just failed. Okay. So really what we want to do is we want to just put sync back here. I think that fixes it. Yeah, because then we grab. And as long as the timing here doesn't screw anything up, it should be fine. Oh no, we're good. Okay, nice and simple. Yeah, and then I'm out of output space. This is still going. This is a very slow reactor, I guess. Okay. So at this point, what do I have? I have OH or N coming out here. I don't know which. Problem is... Problem with this is that I still need the ONA. I still need the ONA. Or NaO, as the case may be. So I'm short in oxygen. So I made this, but in hindsight... Shoot. In hindsight, it doesn't actually do what I want to do. And in fact, I'm going to delete the whole reactor. I finally figured out how I want to solve this. You come up here. You come down. You probably go something like that. What am I doing here? Now this part's getting messy. So what I want to do, very simply, I want to have one output that all it does is gives me an individual oxygen atom. I want a second output that gives me individual atoms of the other three. Let's just do that here. Exit reactor. Something like that. Okay. All we want are individual oxygens. All we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. I swear, I'll figure out what I'm trying to do at some point. So we're going to input. We're going to minus. We're going to take our sensor friend. If we have a sensor, if we have oxygen, go up, drop it here, and output. Okay, we now have an output that is only giving us oxygen. If we do not have oxygen, we would then have chlorine. No, I might actually want to also dump chlorine up here. Yeah. I think that's relatively easy. Okay, so actually we're just going to do this. Whatever this is, it gets output. Here. Well, that other reactor takes forever, so I can just do this all on blue and it'll be fine. I mean to say that, but... Let's do that. Grab whatever this is. I'll output it. And then we'll do a sink. And the sink is for the red Waldo. Unsink. Grab. We're actually going to do the sink down here. Just to make sure we have enough time. And here we're going to drop. And output. Alright, I think this works. Every time. Grab. I think this works. So that got me my chlorine out here and my sodium out here. You're going through in order to clean up all the oxygen, the hydrogen. Alright, so does this clear both hydrogens without a collision? That's what I need to know. Yep, looks good. Okay. Good. Okay, so we have something working. So now, put reactor 3 here. This this still isn't going to work. Still isn't going to work. Because what we're doing here now is we're getting rid of chlorine if we have it. Otherwise, we're forming this molecule. Oh, no, it's fine. It will work. Okay. It doesn't have to be balanced. It doesn't have to be a balanced ratio. I'm just thinking because we get twice as much hydrogen as we do sodium, but that's fine. So this open reactor, it doesn't say what we're getting. Can I do multiple notes per output? Yes. So here, upper output should be chlorine or oxygen. And lower output, I think that's the position I was outputting it in, because I kind of do that by default. It's going to be hydrogen or sodium. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, so we're getting chlorine or oxygen. So again, we're going to start here. We're going to input beta. I'll just grab whatever it is, it's fine. Put a sensor here. Up here, fine. If we have oxygen, which is what we want, go to the right. If we don't, come around, drop, output, that's fine. That gets rid of chlorine and recycles it. In fact, let's just do that so that we're not putting something on this line, just in case. We get oxygen. Instead, we can even use the same line. Doesn't matter. Get oxygen instead. Then we drop. I guess we'll just drop it here. It's fine. And sink. Once we've synced, we might need a second sync. Once we've synced, we're going to input alpha, grab. We've grabbed on this oxygen. This would be why we want these on separate lines. Okay. That's fine. Let's fix this. So here we are holding the oxygen, so we want to drop the oxygen here. Go up. Bond. Output. And then sync. So this is going to... Problem is these both going to go at the same time, so we're going to have a sync here. And I think a second sync here, and that should do it. Chlorine just gets taken to the recycler. Oxygen gets dropped in position. Yeah, this still isn't done. There we go. It wasn't too long a wait. Drop, bond, out. Okay. Chlorine's just going to go away. Oxygen. Collision between... Where was that? And this one. Okay, that just means I need to fix some sync issues here. No, that's because this pipe filled up and it couldn't output. Okay. Well, the way to fix that, I think, is just to put an output here. And yeah. Neither of them are moving because there's no output space. So that just stalls. If the pipe is full, it won't move. Okay. Easy enough fix. Okay. Okay. So from here, lower output note was, I think, something like this. Is that right? Yes. And that's in the right position. Okay. So now I have this. Just move that over here. And finally, can't actually fit through here. Okay, that just means I have to do that really tight. This is actually a problem. Well, No, that just means I have to move this back. Okay, that's easy enough to do. Just move that back. That's fine. And this goes like that. Okay. This is my last reactor. I've got all of my inputs and outputs nicely labeled. And this one should be super easy. Because no matter what this is, we just go input, grab, whoops, delete, go to here, and does it matter which oxygen we're off of? Probably doesn't, right? Well, we're gonna wait here. In fact, we're gonna do a second sync just to make sure that everything is lined up. And then here, grab whatever this is. That's a potential problem. It could collide, especially with this coming down like this. Okay, well, we'll do the first sync here then. Just to be safe. Also, we need to input. So sync. Is that safe? That's going to be a collision on its own. Okay, we do the sync after. Input after sync. Okay. Sync, input, grab, whatever this is, move it to this position, and we're just going to drop it. Drop it there. Right, so sync 1. It's fine. So let me just go down. Bond. And we wait again. Okay. Second sync. So at this point we have a bonded thing. We have one of our two outputs that we want. And then here, I guess here, it's the closest we can do it. If we have sodium, go down, and that sodium will be here at this point. If we have sodium, we go down, drop, go around. We don't have sodium. You can just drop wherever. And then we do both outputs. I think this works. Waiting, 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 waiting. What's the problem? Problem is that this line filled up. Because we're getting way more. Well, by ratio, we should be getting 2 hydrogen for every 1 sodium, right? That's what the ratio should be. But we just happen to get... No, that's not necessarily... Yes, it is an issue because we're not able to get through here. Okay, How do we fix that? I think the way we fix that is going to be kind of silly. But I think what we're actually going to do is output this hydrogen. Oh yeah, it's not a 2-to-1 ratio. It's a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of molecules, but also 2-to-1 here. So it's actually a 4-to-1 ratio of hydrogen. Okay, that's an issue. So we're going to convert that into a 2-to-1 ratio by outputting up here. And this is fine because we only care about oxygen, and so the extra hydrogen is going to get recycled automatically because we're checking for oxygen and not for chlorine. Okay. Which is, this is output 8. Edit upper note. So we have hydrogen coming in here as well. Ah, that's fine. Okay. Does that work? Collision. Right, because this is supposed to be the other. Okay, it seems to be working. Let's watch it from this screen. Is it ever gonna get a backlog? It looks like it did. So the issue with this is still too much hydrogen. Alright, so I just need to fix the ratio, basically. And the way to fix the ratio... I mean, I could probably just extend the pipe, and that would work as well. But the other thing to do is with this one... okay. No, what we're going to do... Make this super easy. Is that we're going to have this reactor okay, we're going to go back to this. Output here. So it's going to do one output here, and then one output here. And that's fine. It'll go back. Will it? No, from here we actually need to do this. Okay, that's fine. So now we take one input goes here, one output goes here. Do we need another sink? I don't think we do, but I'm not sure anymore. This might still not quite work. Alright, and then we have the other way to fix, the other thing we're fixing here is that this is not going to come around, but is instead going to do that. And then come back through here. I think that's right. That's right. Something's gonna mess up. Okay, what was the mess up? Chlorine goes out as expected. Sodium's not supposed to go out that way. Ah. Which reactor is this? This one? Right, because we get... Okay, that's fine. Let's do it this way then. Because we want sodium to come out here. If we have sodium, we go up. Otherwise... Otherwise we do that. Okay. And I move the sensor. Okay, that should be fine. Chlorine goes down. Sodium goes out. Okay, so how does it handle this molecule? Ooh, that's... Well, for one thing, I need to grab here. Don't I? Oh no, you're grabbing. That's fine. You're just gonna wait again. So we've dumped you up top. You have the wrong molecule. So you're going up here, and you're dumping the hydrogen up here. Do we ever dump hydrogen here? I don't think we are anymore, right? Yeah, because we need another sink. Because you grabbed this too early. There's another sink here. A sink here. Okay, so how does it handle the water? Oxygen's good. I mean, it's still all being grabbed. That extra sink didn't help. All the sink is going to do... Now we're stalling here. Okay, so it's going to be this from the second water. Right, I kind of had an idea that that was going to be an issue. This still gives us enough time to get the sodium through, which is good. Yeah, you're supposed to grab... Okay. There. Should do it. Collision here because they happen to be coming up at the same time. If I put another sink on each of those, does that work? I don't know, because I might end up stalling if I do that. It's been 2 hours, I kind of just want to do stuff and hope that it works and not think about it too much anymore. Okay. Well, that worked. Alright, yeah, so as expected, another defense mission and an optional production mission, which I guess is what we're doing next. I wonder if it's just going to be a harder version of what I just did. I don't know, I think know why this took me as long as it did. I think I'm just not in the right mind space for this today. That can happen. Anyway. This also means it's going to be like a 2-hour late upload. I wasn't expecting to spend this long on this by the time I get all my timestamps done and everything. Well, it is what it is. We'll continue with this next time. I will see you then.